Hello and welcome to a new session on the topic ArchiMate for Architecture Modeling in alignment with TOGAF Architecture Development Method ADM. In a previous session, we have demonstrated the different domains of the ArchiMate architecture modeling specifications and using a case study. In the case study, we have demonstrated how to model a smart home architecture, moving from the motivation layer, strategy layer, business, application, and technology layers. In today's session, we continue on the same case study with a deeper dive into the business architecture. Let's get started. So, using the same diagram, we are going to rearrange it as we have ended up with the business element ensure local operations as one of the main business services of the architecture. However, we can still dive deeper and improve on the business architecture altogether. In the first step, I will zoom a little bit out to make space for the business architecture layer. I will move the target architecture view downwards so that we can see where we are going to fit the business architecture layer. It stays or it can be positioned right here between the application and infrastructure architecture and between the motivation and strategy. So I will start with a few services. In the first step, business service, we will collect telemetry data. Collect data from IoT devices. Let's zoom back out. Here we have the first step. In order to achieve or realize the requirement to utilize the hardware-software interaction to optimize electricity consumption for end users. So I will begin by collecting the sensor data readings, collect telemetry data. In the next step, after collecting the data, I need to store the data, store IoT data, telemetry data. And then next step, after storing the data, I'll need to process the data. Process the data, analyze the data. So these are the services, business services to realize this goal. At the end, the outcome of the processed data, we will have recommendations. These recommendations we have agreed they will be delivered to the end user with push notifications on a mobile device. So we'll have business events, trigger recommendations, recommendations ready. Since this processing is not really real time, it's near real time. So we have recommendations ready. And this is a good point to discuss with the stakeholders. Are we interested in real time, near real time, or offline analytics? Based on recommendations ready, we need the last service, notifications service. In a previous example, we have shown a similar flow. If we revisit business architecture, business layer, we have shown it using business processes and events for an online store. We could use business processes once more, or we could be more specific and use business services since it is an encapsulation of multiple processes and functions together coming to serve a purpose. So this is a matter of interpretation as well. I'll get back to the case study smart home. Now we have a pretty much ready skeleton to map to both of the motivation and strategy layers and down to the application and technology architecture. We could even be more specific. We say here we have a business object, telemetry data itself, sensor readings. We could be even more specific and then say what kind of readings we have. We have temperature reading and we have light reading. And we can say this is temperature. And one more for light luminosity sensors. However, the right terminology for the sensors in the market. And we use here a specialization relation. These are specialization of a sensor reading object, and you can see here we have our data model almost in place. You can derive based on this data model the entity relation diagram ERD schema. And the collect telemetry data will access these sensor readings. And then collect telemetry data will deliver them to store telemetry data service. So it is a triggering relation, flowing relation also fine. The store telemetry data will process the data and the outcome will be recommendations ready event. And storing the data here, this will be a time series object. So we can do some time series forecasting based on the data. Process data will access the time series object and based on that will deliver the recommendations and trigger the recommendations ready event. So we could even go further and say the object here that's being accessed is recommendations object. Or recommendation object. And this will be used by the notification service, which will consume the event and deliver it to our customer application. So pretty solid how it is done right now. Let's start with the mapping. Zoom out a little bit so we have it all fit on the screen. So collect telemetry data, store telemetry data, process data, notification service, they all realize this requirement. And then the collect telemetry data is being realized specifically by the edge part. This is the part we are collecting the telemetry data. So it fits pretty nice here. Which service, smart home gateway or ensure local operations. This is, we could even fit that further up in the diagram. Let's try that first. And we need to do now some rearrangement. So ensure local operations will be mapped over here. And in the flow, it's more of collect telemetry data, store and transmit it to the cloud, ensure local operations. So I would say collect telemetry data ensures also as well local operations. And this is realized by the home server. I'll remove this relation now. I will come to that later. We could even say collect metadata, ensure local operations. This is a composition relation, part of the collection. They ensure local operations also is being performed, so that we don't have to map the realization once again. So I need now to map this part, the customer home with the sensoric and the smart home gateway, service, etc., as the ones realizing this one. I will attempt first to map the group. Let's see if this any possible connectivity between the group. So the only one available here is association. Not quite as one has hoped that it would be a realization relation. Or we could do a realization relation directly from smart home gateway service to collect telemetry data. This also fits fine. I'll be quite okay with this one. Few more rearrangement. Let me skewed to the left. But we are done with the collect telemetry data. And then storing the telemetry data, this is realized by the reprocessing service. We could associate this one with the collect, store with the store, and all together. And then we have the realization relationship. Telemetry pre-processing service is realizing this goal. Let's move the association for a moment. So it looks much better now. And then to make the flow a little bit more horizontal, we need to have this right here. Make this association as well. And then I'll expand my architecture view. I have the customer and the mobile device on the right. And now we can see the customer is redundant. If said this can access the device. Let's see what are the relations once again. Service triggers flows associated served by. So notification service in the mobile device serves the customer. We could have more accurately, the mobile device itself is not serving the customer. This is associated to the mobile app which is serving the customer. Let's try that. So the mobile application is an application. That's composition. Our mobile application. Make use of the device once again. Yes. On a mobile device or a tablet or even smart TV. We'll stick with the association. assign to is always okay as well. And then the relation here again, serves. And to continue with the same analogy, I will move the GPUs a little bit to the left, bring the mobile application service more to the right, the push notification service. I will now let's undo that one. Let's first enlarge our group, cloud group, and this is device certifications. So the push notification service, let's have this one a little bit so that we have more space on the screen. This one, so you can see it much better now. So the mobile app service is realizing a notification service. The analytics service is realizing the process data service. So now we need some more space. And then the mobile app service is realizing this one. We can align them again horizontally the same way we've done, and the push notification is delivered to the mobile application. So flows to trigger served, flows to. The GPU is attached to the analytics service, and then we have here service. We have made some more space. Looks now more aligned than before. Squeeze it a little bit. Have the overall architecture here a little bit shifted to the right, back again. Now it's more or less aligned. Move this one a little bit. This one a little bit. Not quite my favorite, but the alignment is not that bad altogether. And now we have a visual alignment between the core domains. We have visited the topic of alignment between core domains in a dedicated session. Let's again let's first align it. I want to fit it actually to the height. So missed a little bit. And the rectangle navigator with the hands, where we have done this study. Yes, now we're back. Okay, enough playing around with the zooming. To the point, the alignment. So in the first step, we have a motivation layer in purple. You can see it's all now one layer associated with resources and capabilities from the strategy layer. and below it we have the business architecture, the business domain, and then we have the greenish bluish layer of the application domain, very clear on one line flowing together in a layered view. And below we have more or less the technology infrastructure domain in the green colors. So this is what I mean by alignment. So make it even more aligned by having the green over here. So visually, you have a layout, a layered architecture, a visual alignment between different domains. So you can address different stakeholders and the different friction points between the stakeholders and their responsibilities and roles. For example, when you are addressing the business domain, you are addressing here the management, the sales, the marketing, so they know what actually they are dealing with. When you are addressing the application developers, you are more focused on the blue layer, and then you can have alignment between developers and DevOps by showing the interactions and the lines between the application and the infrastructure layers, and likewise between developers and the product owners through the lines and arrows between the business and application domains, and likewise. So this alignment is one of the responsibilities. Stakeholder management and alignment is one of the responsibilities of the enterprise architect. I hope this video have brought you the idea closer and allowed you to understand the powerful tools available at your hand using ArchiMate specifications. Thank you and see you in future sessions.